Hello, leader. Welcome back to another episode of the Fierce Factor podcast. This week, I am excited to bring to you a very special bonus episode, really to address a common question female leaders have in our space when they are at the intersection of growth where they strongly desire support for their business scale, and they're also looking to develop into the woman who is capable and prepared to care for that growth. And look, I've been there. I've been at the point in my own business where the challenges I began to face were really less about growing my business and more about managing that growth. And I really didn't know where to start from there, where to get help, where to turn to, who to turn to. Because if you Google business coach, you're basically going to be at a loss because you will get 1 million experts who have been qualified by either themselves or some random certification company. And it's almost impossible to sort through all of the options and to really know what's best for you, what's the best fit. And to be honest, when I went through this process myself, I didn't want to just turn to the top Google rating or the most convenient option out there. I wanted the absolute right fit and the absolute best coach for me within that best fit. And I was willing to pay top dollar for that resource because I knew investing in myself in that way was the pathway to achieving that next level of growth, both personally and professionally. And for me, that solution was both business coaching and very specific strategic advisory that provided the tools and resources for me to succeed, and also the thought partnership, guidance, and accountability to implement, to manage failure, to pivot, to polish up, and to advance. And I think it's important before you go on that path of self-discovery to really get clear on what you need so that you make the right choice for you and for your business to succeed. So in the spirit of supporting you through the same process, I've brought to you a bonus replay episode that I recorded last year on how to choose a business coach. And I think this is going to be really helpful for you, hopefully informative, enlightening, and I hope to inspire you to take that leap and invest in yourself in ways that will truly transform your confidence and set you up for success in your life first business. Okay, leader, enjoy. Hi there, welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. Hello, leader. Welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm, and you are tuning into episode 100. I know, what? I remember recording episode 1 and thinking, wow, that will be a huge accomplishment to have recorded 100 of these episodes someday. And without fail, I have connected with you, Fierce Leader, every single week for the past 100 weeks. And in honor of this accomplishment, I want to talk with you today about a very profound part of my life and something I believe every business owner, without question, absolutely needs. And that is the investment in working with a coach. I remember starting my journey a few years ago in search of a business coach. And it was really at a point where I had probably resisted working with a coach for a while. I think when I started my business early on, it was really more about trial and error and finding my way. And let's be honest, preserving cash flow. But as I advanced, I began to ask myself new questions. The question became less basic or tactical about setting up my business or attracting clients, but I got to a point where I needed answers to more high-level questions about the stages of growth, where I was, differentiating myself in the marketplace, protecting my assets, cash reserves, building team, and planning for the future. And I remember having this subtle voice tell me that I was just meant for more. It was time to push myself to a new level that I hadn't accessed yet. It was a voice I just could no longer ignore. It was nudging me. I just wasn't really sure how to get there. And quite honestly, at the time, I didn't know what that even was. I didn't know what the destination was. And that began my obsession with coaching, both as a student and as a teacher. And the process of finding the right coach for me, it's not been linear. It has been a process. So today I have a special gift for you. I want to help you navigate this process, learn from my experience and the discernment process we work through with our clients, and also to help you glean some insights from a business leadership coach on what kinds of questions you might consider asking yourself when you get to the point of being ready to make the incredible investment in coaching for yourself. So I'm going to break this session into 5 parts. Number 1, why should you work with a coach or advisor? Number 2, the difference between coaching and consulting. Number 3, how do you decide which coach or coaching program is right for you? Number 4, what kinds of questions to ask during the evaluation process? And finally, number 5, how to measure your success with a coach. All right, let's dive in. So part 1, why should you work with a coach or advisor? So there's a few reasons. For me, starting with accountability, right? So as a CEO, I have no boss. I don't have anybody to tell me what to do. I don't really have a performance evaluation process where somebody can measure my success and how I'm doing. I don't have that. And so having somebody to help hold me accountable to my goals, to make sure that I'm staying on track and I'm not drifting, that I am following through with the things that I tell myself I'm going to do, that I have someone to report back to. Also, part of the accountability is just the process of having somebody pat you on the back and tell you great job because you actually did the things that you said you were going to do. And you just really don't get that if you don't have a coach in place or the accountability in place for yourself. The next reason is thought partnership. And so this has been really powerful for me. You can stop making your business the main topic of your date night when you go out, right? Or with your girlfriends or with your husband or your partner. They're good to go. Like they've heard enough about your business. They probably hear it all week long. And when you go out, you want to show up and talk about something other than just your business. And it sort of starts with knowing that you have somebody that you can share these really powerful thoughts that you have with around your business and the things that are noodling in that head of yours all day long. You know you're going to show up to a call with somebody, with a coach in a program where you're going to be heard, where you can bounce ideas off of someone and really talk in a partnership around, this is the strategy I'm thinking about. What do you think about it? Someone that you can really trust. Which brings me to the next piece, which is trusted guidance. So when you have a coach, you get to work with an expert who has your best interest in mind without any hidden agenda. They're not coming in with jealousy or resentment. I can tell you that for me, when I work with my clients, my success is directly tied to their success. Anytime that they can come to me and tell me that they've achieved a milestone or that they have invested in something or hit a new level of success, where I feel like I wish they didn't have that, or I wish I could have that instead. No, it's all about them, right? And so I feel like that when I work with my coach, she's all about seeing me succeed and really doubling down on the idea share, this thought partnership and the accountability to support that idea of being a trusted guide for me. Also somebody who has been through it, who's living it and doing it, walking the walk, talking the talk every single day. And so I can truly trust the guidance that she wants to bring to me or the advice that she brings to me because I know that she's living it and it's not just something she's read about and she's deciding to coach me on. The next reason would be to catch landmines before you fall into them. And that's really the power of working with a coach who has so much experience working with other business owners and who has probably been through some of the same struggles, that you're about to face, where they can say, I'm recognizing as we're talking through this scenario, here's something to think about, something to look into, or make sure that you have this as an agenda item on your list to address to make sure you don't go that route. Here's where it could go south, right? And so it's sort of setting you up and preparing you for something that could happen in the future. So, an example would be, Recently, I was talking with a client who had hired a bunch of new people on, and she didn't create job descriptions for them. And she had a couple roles that were very similar. And, in the beginning, a lot of times it's like all hands on deck. Everybody does all the things. But as you start to grow, as you start to expand and the business is evolving, you want to make sure you have really clearly defined roles. And so this was a sort of anticipatory suggestion to just make sure that we're sort of starting to gently define what each of these roles were and the results and KPIs for all of these roles for every employee, just to prevent the future potential for them to A, have overlap, but B, also have any kind of dissension internally because their roles are sort of mixed up. So that's an example. And then finally, you'll have comfort in knowing that you have a place to go to in-source answers in integrity with your truest goals, right? So many times when we rely on our colleagues who are doing the same thing as us, or we're looking at Instagram, or we're looking at somebody we admire who's like, oh, well, they did it that way, right? And maybe they're at a different stage of business. When you work with a coach, they know exactly what you are, the path you're on, your own journey, right? They know the things that you're going through in your life and business and how each step is getting you closer to the destination that you want to be at. And so they have your success in mind. And so when you're talking about goals, your coach is not just going to talk to you about what most people want or what they want or what they think you should want. They know what you want, and they're going to help remind you of that. And sometimes that's even part of the accountability piece, where they're going to gently nudge you back into the place where you're back on track. Maybe if you've been drifting off a little bit. Okay, so let's move into part 2. Let's talk about the difference between coaching and consulting. And I've done both, and I actually have a business that's set up as a bit of a blend of both. But I think that there's some confusion sometimes when you're looking for help in your business, whether to work with a coach or a consultant. So coaching essentially requires developing your ability to solve a problem using a wide range of tools, such as goal setting, visualization methods, journaling, and accountability. So it's basically, where you're working with a coach, that's like, I'm teaching you how to develop these skills so that you can solve these problems yourself, right? Whereas consulting involves helping somebody solve their specific problem, right? So it's really like focused on, maybe it's project specific. So this could be like in the form of training, templates, step-by-step guidance, or other collaborative project-based support. So I think the best way I like to think of it is like, you've heard the analogy, you can teach someone how to fish, right? Or you can catch the fish for them. And those are kind of the two different philosophies. So like coaching would be teaching somebody the skills to go catch their own fish, whereas consulting would be, I'm going to go with you and we're going to catch the fish right now, right? Some ways accomplishing the same thing, depending on what your goal is, but there's just a whole different approach to it. So I think that coaching is often the preferred tool when a client needs support with behavioral changes. So if you're looking to improve time management or becoming a stronger leader, setting boundaries, building your industry thought leadership, or building your team, whereas consultancy typically doesn't focus on behavioral changes, instead looks at more industry specific or technical topics. So could be something like conducting a survey or running a client-facing focus group. Because of these differences, a coach is often highly customized, right? So their approach is a little different with each client because each client is a different human and has behavioral needs that are different. While a consultant may be able to really apply a very specific formula and take that into various environments because it's a templated approach to a very tactical problem, okay? So in our academy, we focus on a blend of both of these. So there'll be both algorithmic and subjective measurements. So for example, you might hire a consultant to help you build a compensation plan for an employee. So we would, in this scenario, train you how to build a comp plan and then provide you the tools to take back to your business to have the expertise and autonomy to do this independently next time around. We would also work with you emotionally on your confidence around how to approach the compensation conversation, how to show up as a well-directioned leader in the hiring process, and how to delegate these tasks as you build your infrastructure. So if you have a very specific task that you need handled, you might look to a consultant to help. Whereas if you are looking to develop your own skills, working with a coach would really be the way to go. Okay, moving on to part 3, let's talk about how do you decide which coach or coaching program is the right fit for you. So in this section, I'm going to share some of the advice I followed while I was researching for my own coach. And I've worked with several, by the way, and this is just totally spot on. So first, you're going to observe without thinking. I know it sounds crazy, but seriously, you're going to just feel. You'll use your sensory brain that will help you access your instincts. So you're going to ask yourself questions like this. Do I find myself drawn to working with someone, right? Does your body lean in? I'll have clients call me sometimes and they're like, I don't know what it was. I just felt this pull toward working with you. And that's the right thing to listen to. Do you feel comfort, excitement, right? And by the way, you could feel fear and that can actually be a good thing, right? So you're going to instantly ask yourself when you're feeling that feeling, do I feel like deliciousness or disgust? Like, think about it. Like, what brings me joy? Like following this visceral feeling that you have. And a great analogy that I like to think of to decipher between what's fear and what's a red flag is imagine this. Imagine it is a scorching hot, dusty day. Okay. You've been hiking. You are parched. You are dehydrated. And in the distance, you spot a pool. So you shuffle over to the pool with your very last bit of energy and you walk straight onto a high dive looking down over the pool. The pool is split into 2 basins. On the right, it's a quick little 3-foot hop into the water, but the water is disgusting. It's murky. It's gross water. There's moss and sludge floating around. And then you look to the left and there's a pool of crystal clear, clean, filtered, refreshing water, but it's a 100-foot drop down. Which side do you choose? If your fear is making that 100 high-foot dive, but you know you will land in the most glorious pool of water, then it's a positive fear, right? This is a primal fear of falling. So your mind may talk you out of it, but deep down, you know this is the right choice. That's actually what you want. It's just a matter of getting through that fear to achieve that, okay? The second thing that I would do if I'm trying to decide whether a coach or coaching program is right for me is really research their work. So I'm going to research their articles, listen to their podcast, attend one of their talks, and then ask myself, does my interest deepen or am I less drawn to them? So you really want to feel more and more connected to their philosophy as you do more research about them. Then check out their testimonials. Can you relate to actual clients and to their stories? Do they have powerful testimonials to share, or does their marketing just tell you about them? A great coach is all about his or her client's success, not just how amazing they are. And number 4, go outdoors for a walk. Get your body moving, take some deep breaths, close your eyes, and envision yourself coming out on the other side with that coach or program. What do you feel? What do you see? Are you at peace? Or are you sensing a manic urgency? The idea of working with this coach should feel like standing on that high dive, but allow you to feel a calm confidence about that end result. Number 5, don't rely on other people's opinions. Actually, remember everyone's journey is different. Focus on insourcing your own answers instead of taking others' advice. I've seen this go wrong so many times because people try to compare to other people's businesses. Remember, we're all on our own journey, and what's best for them may not be what's best for you, but only you know that. Only you can decide that. And then finally, trust yourself. You should feel peaceful, calm, and relaxed. And the fear, remember, it will be there when you're challenging yourself, but don't let that be your focus. All right, let's move into part 4. What kinds of questions should you ask during the evaluation process? So once you've done your research and you know who you want to work with, it's time to talk with them to identify which program they offer that's the right fit for you. So a coach might offer one-on-one or group coaching. They may teach in cohorts of people who have similarities. in personality, stage of business, or industry. Do not try to haggle and negotiate when they make a recommendation for you. Just like a patient who comes in asking for facial balancing and then wants to advise you on how much or where to place product, right? A great coach will have a methodology behind the way he or she guides clients, and they can likely anticipate what you'll need in what order, so trust them as the expert. However, do ask why that program is right for you and what results could look like for you if you follow that process. You'll want to know how to optimize your time in their program and what kind of time commitment you should prepare for. Does that coach understand your industry? Can they talk the talk? Do they have internal connections and referrals that will help you skip the line of headaches trying to source world-class support? You'll want to know the financial investment. A transformational coach could help you create million-dollar breakthroughs in your business. And trust me, you will get what you pay for. If you're not stretching a little out of your financial comfort zone, that may be a pause for caution. You really want to be looking for the best coach and working with them when you have the financial confidence to make that investment in yourself versus looking for a more affordable coach and then sacrificing the quality. Trust me, you will get what you pay for, leader. And finally, I'd ask what kind of habits contributed to success for past clients. You really want to understand what and how you can invest and work appropriately with that coach to maximize your impact in their program. Okay, let's move on to the final part of this episode, part 5, how to measure your success with a coach. So I wanted to include this piece because something I learned as I began to integrate coaching methodology into my consulting practice is really that results from working with a coach are profoundly more impactful than hiring a consultant for a job. But the results can be unassuming. Be sure your coach knows exactly where you are and where you are looking to go in your business and life. A best-in-class coach will not offer a cookie-cutter templated approach, but instead, they'll be focused on helping you find your own answers, break through limiting barriers, and in-source million-dollar confidence that will allow you to achieve financial breakthroughs again and again and again and again. And those results are priceless. If they're guaranteeing a straight financial result, I would ask myself, is that my primary goal? And at what cost will it take to achieve that? Your results should be dynamic and individualized. So make sure your coach is talking the talk of overall success with you and reminding you how capable you are of achieving that. Okay, leader, I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you for joining me for episode 100. This was a special day for me. And I hope that this was helpful as you are on your journey to exploring the possibility of working with a coach or a consultant. And P.S., if you are looking for help in your business and you're not sure which direction to go, you can absolutely set up a consultation call with me. Just no pressure discovery call where we can talk a little bit more about your goals. We have several different programs that we could guide you toward, or we definitely would let you know if it's not the right fit and kind of steer you in the right direction. Either way, again, my success would be your success. And so I would love the opportunity to get to talk with you a little bit more about what you're looking to accomplish in 2022. All right, leader, thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week. Wait, before you go, if you're vibing with this conversation and want to join me on my mission to help 1,000 inspiring and intentional women cross the next $1 million milestone in their business this year, or maybe you want to become one of them, head over to Facebook and join our free community, the Fierce Factor Society. Over there, we are taking this conversation to an elevated level. Get access to resource guides, podcast supplements, and guideposts, direct communication with me and my expert team, and of course, a society of fierce women making big moves and disrupting the status quo in aesthetics and wellness. You can link directly through the show notes or head to Facebook and search up the Fierce Factor Society. See you there, goddess.